Left your party at sundown. You were nowhere to be found. Sip my bottle, heading uptown. Ooh, long way home, the back roads. No hands on the handle. Blew the red light like a candle. The wind undid my hair like it knew you weren't there. Boys like you never play fair. Don't play fair. I'm on a midnight bike ride. There's orders 2 a.m. Left you behind. How could you think we could just be friends again? I'm on a midnight bike ride. There's orders 2 a.m. Left you behind. Now that you know things can never be the same. City has no secrets. I know all the shortcuts. Now I'm lost looking for your touch. Used to be your night shift. Can't work out, I might just fly down here until the sun lifts. Found an empty street, sing myself a melody about how it used to be. Wind undid my hair like it knew you weren't there. Boys like you never play fair. I'm on a midnight bike ride. There's orders 2 a.m. Left you behind. How could you think we could just be friends again? I'm on a midnight bike ride. There's orders 2 a.m. Left you behind. Now that you know things can never be the same. I'm gone, I'm gone. I'm gone away. I'm gone, I'm gone away. The moon lights up my sundress, reminds me to forget. The moon lights up my sundress, shows what lies ahead, ahead. I'm on a midnight bike ride. There's orders 2 a.m. Left you behind. How could you think we could just be friends again? I'm on a midnight bike ride. There's orders 2 a.m. Left you behind. Now that you know things can never be the same. I'm on a midnight bike ride. There's orders 2 a.m. Left you behind. How could you think we could just be friends again? I'm on
Oh, that song was actually really good timing, right? Ended right as we were starting. Hi, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Let's get the focus back. Yeah, we're good. Happy Wednesday. Hope you've all been having a really, really good week. It's been pretty full on for me, to be honest. Non-stop. As some of you know, I had a service for my grandmother on Monday, who recently passed away. Which was in Devon, about 4 hours drive from mine. Beautiful part of the country on the coast. The weather was amazing. It looked great. I've actually got some video footage I could show of it. But the service was great. It was wonderful to be with family, and it was a really good send-off for my grandmother. I'll talk about that maybe a bit later if we get time, because I'm very mindful of today's topic and I want to get straight on with it. But yeah, it was a long drive back Monday night, 4 hours back. So I was pretty exhausted, and work's been pretty full on. I was up 6 o'clock this morning to get into London for a 9 a.m. shoot of some interviews that we're doing for this great event called PeepSec that I've mentioned a few times in the past, and we'll talk in more detail in the coming weeks. The date is going to be June 13th for that. And then finished filming around 5:30, 6 o'clock. Went out for a quick drink with a colleague, close friend of mine, and then got the train back, and I arrived home about 40 minutes ago. So it wasn't as rushed as last time where I was late by half an hour, and a lot of you stuck around, which I really, really appreciated. Yeah, here we are. You might think, well, Myles, you've been so rushed, and I appreciate the condolences and the kind words. Thank you. Before I get this bar to disappear actually beneath me, a bit of housekeeping. As always, my website is mylesdyer.com. You can support me financially at patreon.com/MylesDyer. And Instagram is where I'm most active, although I've had a huge break from social media the past few weeks. And I want to say I feel better for it. I definitely do. I think it's just that I still feel a bit meh. And I know that I probably would have felt a lot worse had I stuck around for that. So yeah, really appreciate it, and good to see lots of faces here. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Really, really, really appreciate it. So it is Mental Health Awareness Week. It always comes around so quickly. I believe it's Mental Health Month in the US. I don't know if it's an internationally recognized thing. It's always very difficult to tell with these kind of things. At my company, we've been organising things for our colleagues to do. We have a morning intention session, kind of like mindfulness meditation, which is done 15 minutes before the workday starts. We all do it virtually. It's really, really great. And we do some share sessions. And I can't believe it was yesterday. It's been such a blur. Yesterday lunchtime, I did a 40-minute session for the company on life hacks around mental health and well-being, things that can really make a difference in your life. And it went down really well, had really great feedback. And so when thinking about, well, what am I going to do for this week for mental health awareness, I tweaked a few of the slides, which were more work specific. And I thought, why not present it to you all today? And I'm mindful that when people watch this on replay, often there's a lot that they want to skip through at the beginning before we get to the actual topics. But I want to jump straight into it, if that's all right with you. So I've had it set up on my computer. Hopefully the screen share works fine, although I haven't really tested it first. So do you know what? If I do preview mode, this is actually how it works. I don't think you'll be able to see it at the moment, but okay. I don't know if you can see at the moment. You probably can see just me, right? Tell me what you can see, because I don't use this preview mode much. And by the way, if you haven't already, please do hit that like button. It really, really helps. Just me. Thanks, Karina. I'm glad it works, because I can see the game that we're going to be playing at the end, which is going to be really, really good. So screen share, preview, and let me just get the size right. Okay, right, we're going to do it like this. Okay. Right. Back to live mode. Cool. We're there. We're here. Good. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the feedback. And definitely, it is always really good to take a break. So, I don't know if there's a better way to do this kind of thing, but this is what I'm doing. I've got it flagged up here. Well, if I go to view, no, I don't know what was going on then. Right. So, yeah, the heart and brain symbol is really, really good. I like it a lot. What I'm going to be going through for everyone are 7 topics overall. But before we do that, I just want to say that I've got a few friendly reminders, okay? Firstly, really, really important, okay? And let me just move myself to over here. Actually, I could put myself further up there. There we go. Actually, let me put myself in this corner. To be honest, there's not going to be a good corner in this at all. So maybe I'll just stick here. Okay, so number 1 is, and as I'm talking through these, I could go next to them like this. So, number 1, this is just one perspective. Different minds have different experiences, and these different experiences require different solutions. No one has a monopoly on good ideas. So what I'm presenting you today aren't going to be quick fixes. They're not going to be things that solve your problems overnight. They might not be things that even help you at all. These are just things to consider, and it's why I'm actually keeping this around some broad themes. Number 2, join the conversation if you wish. This is obvious. This is how this live show works every Wednesday. Feel free to type your thoughts, questions, and own suggestions in the chat box. I love all the engagement. You're an awesome, tight-knit community here. And just be respectful. And also, if you don't want to share anything, you don't have to. That's always the case, and especially when it comes to serious issues like mental health and well-being. And then third and not least, or last and not least, should I say? God, my brain is so fried today. This is not professional guidance. So if in doubt, please don't hesitate to seek professional help. There's a lot of help addresses online. I can get some put together at the end. That was something I didn't get a chance to do. Right, so with that said, here, I'm putting myself all over the place here. Here are the 7 topics that I'm going to cover. And within each of these topics are going to be life hacks that hopefully help you. So we're going to talk about language, the importance of language in the life and the implications it has on the mind. We're going to talk about mindfulness. What is mindfulness? We're going to talk about nature, the power of nature, sleep, the importance of expression, compassion, and floating. And something else I'm going to say actually is normally on the show, I put your comments on screen. For the duration of this presentation, I am not going to put anyone's comments on screen. So, I mean, they're going to be public, they're going to be in the chat, but I'm not going to sort of showcase them up here. So if that makes people feel better, then yeah, hopefully that's going to be a good thing. So, number 1, language. And I'm putting myself back down here now. Number 1, language, okay? Why language? Well, often people believe language is all about communication. Now, it is significantly about communication in life, but primarily language is about how we talk to ourselves. It's how we think. It's that inner monologue. And so have a think about how, for example, our vocabulary shapes our perception of the world around us. For example, did you know that humans didn't actually see the colour blue until modern times? Prior to the 1800s, we didn't register blue, the colour, simply because we didn't have a word for it. It was just associated with the colour green. If you look in most literature, the colour blue is never mentioned. Think about newspapers or or news programs. If you are someone that is going to be exposed to news media that is very hyperbolic, it's all exaggerated language, all capital letters, it doesn't look for nuance, it's all screaming language, and that is the only information you consume when finding out about the world around you, that is going to shape the way that you perceive the world. You are going to see it in a very exaggerated way that heightens your alert and or sense of alarm. So if you think about that in the context of mental health, if you are constantly using negative words to describe yourself or your environment, that can become internalized. If you keep using negative words to describe things, even if it's only slightly negative, it starts creating a negative environment. And on the flip side, if you are someone that looks for positive language, that can shape a positive environment and a positive mindset. Now, this is not to say that you shouldn't ever use negative language, but think about the context in which it's being used. Is it necessary? Are you actually describing a negative thing? Or are you describing something that is neutral that could be described in a more positive light? So words and language matters. Not only when you think about the way that you talk to other people. When you talk to other people, if you use negative language, you can cause harm. You can hurt other people's feelings. But it's not just about the impact language has on other people. It's also about the impact it can have on yourself. And so there was an exercise I came up with, inspired by some of the work I'd done in cognitive behavioural therapy, that you may have seen on an Instagram reel of mine. And it's called Could, Not Should. And this is how the exercise works. Whenever you are approaching a task in life, it might be for work, it might be something you need to do around the house, perhaps it's just something that's on your mind that needs doing. And I use the word need there. Often we say, I should do this. I recommend in future, replace the word should with could in every circumstance. Because the word should guilt trips you to use an imaginary rule. Now, you might say, Myles, I have a deadline for this piece of work or for this school report or this essay. It has to be done. So yes, I should do it. But even if there is a deadline or a necessity, it is still technically a choice, because you have the choice not to do it. You have a choice to miss that deadline. You have a choice to walk away from whatever that project is. And so by using the word could and then completing that piece of work or that project before a deadline, you're now empowering yourself because you completed something because you chose to do it. Whereas if you do something because you should, okay, let's say you got it done before the deadline, you're now robbing yourself of that credit, because you might go, well, I did it, but I had to, as opposed to I did it because it was necessary and I chose to do it. So language is really impactful on the way that you perceive yourself and the way that things play out in the world. But it's not only about simple words. It can also be about the way that you frame questions. Now, I did a video on my YouTube channel years ago about the worry tree, which is a concept within cognitive behavioural therapy. And it is whenever you are feeling anxious, you need to think of 2 stages of questioning, okay? And this is what it is. If you are worrying about something, could be anything, the first question you need to ask yourself is, can I do something about this now? If the answer is can I do something about it? Is the first question. Can I do something about it? And if the answer is yes, then okay, do something about it. But if the answer is no, then you need to ask yourself a second question. And the second question is, Sorry, I've totally messed this up. Can I start again? My brain is really, really fried. Forgive me. Start again. The first question is, can I do something about it? And if the answer is no, then you need to push it aside and let go and shift your attention onto something else. Because often in life we talk about the importance of letting go. But letting go tends to create a void because that means, well, what are you going to be doing now? You're probably going to be thinking about it. You may have heard about the exercise, the psychological test. If I tell you not to think about a polar bear for the next minute, and then in a minute I ask you what you're thinking about, it's probably going to be a polar bear. So it's important not only to let go of the worry, because you can't do anything about it, accept it, but to shift your attention onto something else. Shift your attention onto something you do have control over. That can make it easier to let go. But if the answer is yes, I can do something about it, there's a follow-up question. And that follow-up question is, can I do something about it now? And if the answer is no, write it down on a piece of paper, make note of it, let it go and shift your attention onto something that you have control of now, because you can come back to that later. But if the answer is yes, well then act on it to the best of your ability. That is what the worry tree is. Can I do something about it? And if you can I do something about it now? And if the answer is no to any of those questions, then it's about letting go and shifting your attention onto something else. But you might be thinking, well, how is this actually practical? Think about the most obvious example that this could apply. You're lying in bed at night. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. You're worrying about a piece of work that needs doing, or a friend that you've fallen out with. Are you going to be able to address it at 4 o'clock in the morning? No. So worrying about it is only just going to make things go around in your head more and more, and that's not going to help you at all. So by letting go and shifting your attention on something else, and in the context of trying to get to sleep, maybe it's listening to some rain sounds or some spoken word, anything to take your mind away from that present, that can be really, really helpful. So that's a big first section of the 7 topics. So number 2 is about mindfulness. Mindfulness is something that many of us know about. It often is associated with meditation. It's about being present in the moment. But I really want to talk about why mindfulness is so important. Okay? The whys are really, really important when we look at these things. And it's because as human beings, we have this amazing power to both access memories and use foresight. But it can often mean we lose the ability to live in the now. So I'll go into this in more detail. So accessing memories are fantastic for learning from past experiences and reflecting on meaningful moments. That's amazing. You can look back in your life, think about the good things that have happened, how can you achieve more of that, feel happy because of it. But you might also look back on mistakes that you've made. Hopefully you can learn from it and not be dreading on it for too much. As for foresight, we can look into the future. We can plan ahead because of possibilities. We can look at patterns and decide what is possible and plan our lives accordingly. But both memories and foresight can mean worrying about things that aren't happening now. Because memories are just memories. They're not in the present. The future isn't happening now. What is happening now is the present. And so to give you an example, and I've mentioned this before when talking about Professor Paul Gilbert from the Compassionate Mind Foundation, he gives a fantastic example of if you look at the old brain with, let's say, an animal like a buffalo. Let's think of a buffalo that is in the wild and a lion jumps out of nowhere. What's the buffalo going to think? It's going to think, shit, and try and get away. Now, let's say the buffalo does happen to get away. What's it now going to think? Some grass. I'm going to do some grazing here. Always in the present. Now, Let's imagine a human being is in that situation with the new brain, not just able to focus in the present, but the past and the future. Well, let's say a lion somehow jumps out of nowhere. What's the human going to think? Shit! Same as the buffalo. Freaking out, and you're going to try and get away. And let's just say you were lucky and you happen to get away. What is the human going to think about next? It's going to start worrying about the past. It's going to start worrying about the future. The past would be, that was a close one. God, that could have been awful. The what ifs could have ripped me to pieces. I could have been dead. Oh my goodness. That was, just worrying again and again. And what is it to worry about the future? What if there's a lion round there? What if it happens again? And it's not to say we shouldn't look at the past and learn from it. It's not to say we shouldn't plan ahead for the future. But it's being mindful that we shouldn't let the past and the future rob us of living in the present, because the present, in many ways, is all we have. And so mindfulness, and it's why I have this icon here above me, is about creating an anchor to the present. It's why breathing exercises are so commonly used around mindfulness. Breathing and making the breathing patterns, conscious is a fantastic rhythm, and it's a way of focusing yourself into the present. It's also why people love exercise and they love going for runs, because that rhythm of your feet hitting the pavement if you're going for a run, and also the breathing, that also focuses you in the present. But mindfulness is and meditation doesn't have to be about being sat there cross-legged on the floor with candles all around you, with some ceremony going on and, some cool hip music to calm everything down. That's how we often think of meditation. But mindfulness and meditation, but I'm going to go into mindfulness here, can be done at any time and for any duration of time. So let's say I've gone downstairs. Ignore the falling of the coaster. I was quite mindful of it then. Let's just say I've poured myself a glass of water. And while the cold water is in my hands, I can be mindful of it. I can think about the coolness of the water and the coolness of the glass touching my fingers. What are the sensations? Where are the pressure points in my fingers? Can I feel it in my fingertips? Maybe it's on the bends of my fingers. Maybe it's in the palm of my hand. Just thinking about that for a moment before you then enjoy your water, and maybe thinking about drinking the water. That is practicing mindfulness. How many times have you had a meal and not even thought about what you're eating? You're just shoveling it down while watching a movie. Sometimes nice to do that. But what about, turning the TV off? You might not be with anyone. But what about eating the food and just being mindful of the sensations of chewing your food? What are the textures like of the food? What are the tastes? What's that feeling as it goes down? Do you feel satisfied? Mindfulness can take place in all aspects. And it can also take place when we're in nature. So that nature is number 3. And by the way, all the comments on that, I'll ask for comments at the end that I can share, because I don't want to go back on what I said earlier. So nature is an eco antidote to the tech boom burnout, which I read online. I love that way of explaining it. Going into nature, you think about how many of us live in concrete jungles. As human beings, we have evolved over thousands of years as a part of nature. We are nature. We are not above it, despite having a society that very much lives in that kind of way, that we're above it. And so there is this term, Shinrin-yoku, this Japanese term, which translates to forest bathing. Now, forest bathing doesn't have to be anything exquisite. Some people might think it sounds pretty middle class. Someone I told about this about the other day went, well, yeah, that's like going for a walk. But a lot of research has shown that, exercising in forests or amongst trees, or simply sitting and looking at trees reduces blood pressure as well as the stress-related hormones cortisol and adrenaline. This doesn't require long walks. It's just about taking time and being present and being surrounded by nature. You see some people that fill their homes with plants. That can also be really good for you. Just think about how we've, evolved living among trees and plants, and when was the last time you actually spent some time amongst grass and some plants and trees? Obviously, they aren't always easily accessible, but when you do get a chance, can be really, really powerful. Number 4, sleep. Now, many of us are plugged into technology all the time. And at the end of the day, we turn off the technology and go and try and go to sleep. And I might struggle. We often think of sleep as being about recovery from the day that you've just experienced. But it's not just about recovery from the day that you've had. It is about preparing you for the day ahead. And that doesn't just mean recovering from the day before so you feel good for the next day. It's actually your brain getting, prepared for what is about to ensue. And so it's important we give ourselves not just the right amount of sleep, but the right quality too. And so there are lots of ways that you can do this, and I've created videos about sleep before. You can use blackout blinds, or the eye shutters, eye shields, or whatever it's called. I live right next to a street light, so my curtains aren't good enough. Having blackout blinds are great, but I'm someone who does like being woken up to daylight in the mornings. So it's give or take. How about removing blue light from your screens? For those of you that don't know, screens on most devices, whether it's your phone or your computer or laptop or tablet or television, a lot of them emit blue light, which helps release melatonin, which awakes you, and it can mess up your sleep cycle. And so you can get apps which take out the blue light. You can actually have it set so it does it with the sunset, and it means that when you're looking in the evening that you're not receiving that negative impact. It's also about having a buffer between your active day and sleep. Do you have a 30-minute wind down period? A lot of phones have these these focus periods to help you wind down at the end of the day. A lot of people talk about sitting in bed, reading before going to sleep. But something I recommend is, if you are someone that does watch TV shows or movies or just, YouTube videos while in bed, okay, it's not the best thing to do. But if you do it, don't do it while lying down. Do it while sitting up. And the reason why is your body, creates habits and associates feelings with behaviors. And so sleeping, which is something we do 365 times a year, if we're lucky, if you're lying down while you're watching TV and then you try and sleep, it's associated lying down with being active. Whereas if you're sitting up and then you turn off your laptop and then you lie down, your body goes, oh, okay, lying down, I do this whenever I'm going to sleep. And it helps keep that pattern, that routine. It's really, really important. But why not also have a buffer with caffeine? I try to not have any caffeine after 4 o'clock in the evening. And then finally, I'd also say that sleep is a really great reset if you're ever having a bad day. If you're getting towards you're having a bad day and you get into the evening, or, crying about something, going to bed is really good, because when you wake up in the morning, if you have your clothes ready, you have the shower ready, all this, you can at least, you'll at least get on with the day, not thinking about what upset you the night before. And that can be really, really impactful. I do also recommend interviews and a TED Talk by neuroscientist Matthew Walker, who talks a lot about the superpower of sleep. So Matthew Walker, definitely check him out. But an app that I use for sleep is called Sleep Cycle. I don't know if any of you have ever used this before. It's a free app. I've used it for about 5-6 years. I actually pay for the premium, which is about $25-$30 a year, so I can log in the data. And Sleep Cycle is great for 3 reasons. And the third reason I'll give is actually related to sleep quality. But the first reason, which you see on the left, is it has replaced the traditional alarm clock. So on the left there, you can see 7:30. Let's say I want to set my alarm for 7:30 in the morning. A traditional alarm clock will wake you up at 7:30 in the morning. It doesn't matter where you are in your sleep cycle. It's horrible. You get woken up abruptly. It's a horrible feeling. But what Sleep Cycle does is if you set it for 7:30, you can see it underneath. Wake up easy between 7 and 7:30. And what it means is that as you're sleeping, and this is the second feature, which you can see in the middle, is as you're sleeping, it will monitor your sleep cycles. When you're moving around a lot, you're in light sleep. When you're not moving much, you're in deep sleep. And so the first section on the alarm will wake you up in the half an hour window before your desired time when you're in light sleep. So 7:30, you set an alarm, a traditional alarm. Okay, it might wake you dead on 7:30. You might go, yeah, that maximizes my sleep. I wake up at the last possible minute. But if you're in deep sleep, you're going to feel terrible. Whereas it might wake you up at 3 minutes past 7. You might think, well, that's 27 minutes of sleep I've missed out on. But if you're in light sleep, my goodness, it feels good. It feels really, really good. Amazing. It feels amazing. So those are 2 great functions of Sleep Cycle. The alarm clock, the monitoring of your sleep cycles, and it can monitor your sleep quality. And then the third thing it does is when you go to sleep, you can set sleep aids. It might be the sound of rain, it might be white noise, it might be some spoken word pieces, or just some great slow synth music. One of my favourite pieces of music is the sound of rain hitting the roof of the car. That always makes me feel great. But I like to rotate it. So these are really great tools. And with the paid version, you can save your data, because what you can do is when you're about to sleep, you tick things like, did I have caffeine after 4 o'clock today? Am I feeling anxious? Did I exercise? All of these things. And what it means is when you wake up, it starts monitoring sleep quality with your different behaviours. And it can start saying, when you do this, this impacts your sleep quality positively by this percentage or negatively, etc. So yeah, Sleep Cycle. It's available on Android and iOS. So yeah, give it a go and let me know how you get on. Expression number 5. Okay. Keeping unsettling thoughts inside can cause them to spiral out of control, leading to greater anxiety and stress. I have always called this, I've come up with the term thought friction. Now, what do I mean by thought friction? Now, burnout, obviously there is a burnout in terms of mental burnout, but burnout is also the practice of keeping a vehicle stationary and spinning its wheels, and the resultant friction causing the tyres to heat up and smoke. And that is how I regard keeping your thoughts inside. I call it thought friction. Because if you have a negative thought in your mind or a worry and it's going round and round and you're not getting it out, it's going to keep spinning in your brain and it's going to cause friction and it is going to actually burn you out. And it can spiral out of control. And so by externalizing these thoughts, it allows you to release it. Things won't heat up. They won't smoke. But also, by sharing, you could help someone else in the process. Sharing vulnerabilities is a big part of mental health and well-being. It's about being part of community. Sharing experiences. When you feel comfortable, of course, because you never know who you might help. And courage is contagious. You sharing your truth, your vulnerabilities, may encourage someone else to do the same. So this can be done, not just by talking about it, but it can also be done by writing down. It doesn't have to be shared with anyone, but merely getting it out of your mind onto a piece of paper, seeing it in a third-person perspective by writing out and then reading it. Or maybe recording yourself on camera talking about it. It doesn't have to be uploaded anywhere. But then watch yourself back, because what you might find is you see yourself as a separate person, and you might be a lot more compassionate than you would be than if you were just keeping it inside your head, because we can be very, very cruel to ourselves. Which brings us to point number 6. Compassion. I have spoken at huge lengths about compassion. So I will talk a lot about it here, but a lot of you know I'm a big advocate for compassion-focused therapy. The Compassionate Mind Foundation by Professor Paul Gilbert is absolutely brilliant, and I've had him on my podcast, which I recommend checking out. It's on the Quest for Global Empathy playlist on my channel. We can be our own worst enemies and treat ourselves incredibly cruel when in our most vulnerable moments. Think about all the times that you've given advice to a friend or family member that is going through a difficult time. What are the sort of things that you would tell them? You would express kindness. You would say, I'm there for you. You can do this. It's okay. You're loved. These are difficult issues, and I totally understand where you're coming from. These are all the sorts of things of compassion that you could admit to someone that you know. But let's say you're going through that same issue yourself. Are you going to be telling yourself those things? A lot of us don't. A lot of us have a lot of self-loathing. Stop being stupid. Why don't I grow up? Why don't I get over it? It's not a big deal. I'm being such a burden on everyone else. Now let's switch that around with that mindset. If a friend came up to you and said, I'm feeling really, really low. I've had a really bad day. Would you say, grow up, pull your socks up, get over it, stop being a waste of space? Of course not. I'd hope not anyway. If you would, I'd have questions. So self-compassion is the idea of treating ourselves as human beings, because that's what we are. And don't be mistaken, self-compassion is not selfish. It's not about feeling sorry for yourself. It's about self-care. It's about acknowledging what you're going through. It's about seeing your truth and being willing to do something about it. That's really, really important. Because the truth is, we live in remarkable times. We are the product of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of years of evolution through dangerous, dangerous times. We are clinging onto a rock that is spinning God knows how fast in oblivion, in a black void. You know, in the vastness and coldness of space. And here we are, connected online, having this to go through. That's pretty remarkable. It's very remarkable. And so we should acknowledge that. There's a lot of pain in the world. We should acknowledge it, be kind to ourselves, be kind to other people, but also know there's something we can do about it. So there are two main components to self-compassion. One is realizing that self-compassion and compassion generally takes strength. We often think of compassion as being this nice thing, yeah? It's nice and soft. But when a firefighter breaks into a burning building to save someone, that is an incredible act of compassion. But it's not soft, it's courageous, it's amazing, it's life-saving. And so, on the one hand, compassion is about being courageous to stand up to the realities of this world. There's a lot of suffering out there. We suffer, and that has a lot to face. But the second component is about becoming useful. Because if you see someone, for example, drowning in a swimming pool, you might have a lot of compassion for them, and you might jump in after them. But let's say you don't know how to swim. You might be drowning with them, and again, a Professor Paul Gilbert joke. I have real empathy for you. I know exactly how you feel. I'm drowning as well. That's not useful. You'd have been better off not jumping in at all. And so it's not about that we have to be responsible for every ounce of suffering in the world. It would drive ourselves, to to very low points because there is a lot of suffering in the world. But it is about at least looking at how we can be useful, how we can be great in society. Have you learnt first aid? Have you become a mental health first aider? Have you learnt tips to better your well-being like we are today? And are you able to share them with other people? Are you able to be happier and stronger in your life dealing with your own demons so that you are then able to help other people? It's always really, really important. And number 7, the final section, is floating. Now, floating is something I talk about a lot. I've spoken about it on the show before. I'm just going to give the top down on what floating is because it takes place in something called a flotation tank. I do it twice a month. I'm going to be doing it again this weekend. I can't wait. So, a flotation tank is a pod, and different places have different ways of working, but this is how a lot of them work in the UK, the ones I've been to. You go into a room that is, you have a lock on it. It's your own room and it has a shower. You strip off, have a shower, get naked. And then obviously once you're in the shower, you're going to be naked. And then you go into this pod that you can see on screen. Now, this pod is full of water that is body temperature. And what that means is after a while, you will no longer be able to feel the water. You won't feel your skin. You won't feel anything. It's also full of Epsom salt, and a lot of Epsom salt. 1/2 ton of Epsom salt, actually over 1/2 ton, over 1/2 kilogram of Epsom salt, which is really good for your skin. Your skin feels amazing afterwards. Your hair feels amazing afterwards. But it also means you're weightless. So you're now in a pod where you can't feel the water and you're floating. You're weightless. You don't feel gravity. On top of that, you have earplugs in, but there's music playing in the pod. Nice calming music. And you close the pod down. Now, the way I like it is you can either have music all the way along, or you can have it just for the beginning and end. So for the beginning, I hear calming music for 10 minutes. I close the pod. I turn the light off. And so I can now not feel anything. I can't see anything. I can't hear anything once the music stops. Smell, okay, there's not a lot to smell, but a little bit. And taste, well, you don't want to be tasting that water. So, it's sensory deprivation, but it is so calming and soothing, and you're in it for an hour. And your brain at first will go a bit all over the place. You're so used to constantly being bombarded with senses, incoming senses, like, everything that you see and hear, especially if you have a busy life looking at screens. And eventually it just zones out. And the first time I ever did one of these, it blew my mind. I came out so zen-like. It was fantastic. Really, really good. So, yeah, flotation tanks. Really relaxing. And then the music comes on at the end. You come out, you shower, and then you sit, have some tea, relax, and you feel really, really good. Professional athletes use these for rehabilitation. People with PTSD, you might think, is it claustrophobic in there? The atmosphere is so relaxing that you'll give it a go. You really, really will. It's amazing. And I think the first time you ever do it is the best time because you don't know what to expect. So, now I'm going to open up the chat to you all. Any suggestions? So I'm just going to say, chat, honestly, the chat throughout this has been fantastic. I really, really want to send lots of love to you all. Lots of great comments, a lot of sharing of experiences. Thank you for that. It does take a lot of strength to share it publicly, especially to write it out, because then you're sort of facing your vulnerabilities on the page. So let me know. What were your thoughts on this? Does anything come to mind? And is there anything you'd like to share? So I'd just like to say that the chat now I am opening up. I'm going to bring it on screen. And then in about 5 minutes' time, we're going to do the weekly game. And then that'll be it for this week's show. So, yeah, I wanted to go through this. And here we go. Floating. I think I walked past the floating place in Islington earlier. There's one in Angel and Vauxhall, but I was in a hurry, so I didn't check it out. But next time, if it's Floatworks, there's one in Angel. And thank you. Yeah, give it a go. And also, I always recommend. Firstly, I recommend emailing any flotation place and mention me, and say, "Hey, Myles was explaining that I should try flotation tanks. Do you have any discounts for a first-time trier?" Because you often do get offered them. So yeah, there was a lot I covered. That's why there's 7 big topics, and it's not 7 life hacks. It's 7 areas of consideration. So actually, just to go back to those sections, I'm just going to close myself off for the moment. So we've got language. The words that you use matter. It's not just the way that you influence other people, it's the way that you influence your internal thoughts and inner monologue. Mindfulness. How do we anchor ourselves into the present? You know, the past is important to reflect on memories and what we can learn from them. And it's good to look ahead, plan for the future. But let's not get lost in the past. Let's not get lost in the future. Let's not worry about these things so much that we don't end up enjoying what we have now. Nature. We are nature, so we should spend more time with it. Just being around trees and plants has significant benefits to the human body. Definitely try it. Sleep. We spend a third of our life in bed. Let's make it the best time we possibly can. So important. Expression. Think about that thought friction, that spinning wheel on the spot. Get it out. It doesn't mean sharing it with other people if you don't want to, but just writing it on a page or recording yourself. That's really, really important. And compassion. It's really important to have compassion for other people, but it's also important that we have compassion for ourselves. And floating. Flotation tanks are incredible. They changed my life. The worst feedback I've ever had was I enjoyed it, but I probably won't do it again. And I think that's pretty good for the most negative feedback I've had for a flotation tank. So, yeah. Yes, and this can all be played back. To be honest, I may clip this and do it as a video sometime, or actually just do it as a proper video. I'll have a think about it. But yeah, mention it for sure. Yeah, and share it. If that's okay. Look, this is public. You share it all you want. If it's going to help people, share it. Sharing is caring. Yeah, I was very fortunate to be given a platform at work. Really great company. I was very, very lucky. Yeah, I'm very lucky that our leadership, Oz, who is our CEO, he sees himself as a leader of leaders. We have a very flat hierarchy and is incredibly inspiring and really empowers us all. And Safe, actually, I'm wearing the jacket here. I'm very, very lucky about it. But yeah, if employees can bring it into the fold, that's also really, really important. Yeah, be a tree hugger. Be a tree hugger. Just not at the base of it, because the dog's probably tiddled on that. But yeah. Yeah, I might clip it, or I might just actually film a video version where I'll have my positioning on screen, maybe better. Yeah, there'll be ways for me to do it. I actually think with presentations, I probably could have done it where I had it like in a box next to me. Not like this, but like I'm smaller, and then over there, the presentation. So I'm like small on the side, and then it's separate. So yeah, that's definitely something I could consider. Great. All right, everybody. And Siago Guitarist, I want to say much love to you, brother. I've seen everything you've been sharing, and I haven't put any on screen, but I really, really appreciate it and wish you Nothing but the best. Great. Now, there's only 6 of us watching. How do we feel about the word game? Are we good for this? If you're in the chat, this is our chance to try and go for a new high score. And then it's 10-10 here. I haven't had dinner. I should probably cook something. But I've got a blockage in my bathroom between the shower and the toilet, and I don't know what it is, but the toilet's gargling or the shower's gargling. When I use the shower, the toilet gargles, and when I flush the toilet, the shower gargles. And I bought a plunger, and the plunger's done nothing. So I'm gonna have to look for some quick fixes. Bet you wanted to hear that at the end of the day, right? It's very, very important though. Oh man, what's a bathroom if you can't use it? Right. Cool. So with that said, and that nice thought, I was just sort of saying it in case anyone had any tips on things that I should be using. Right, screen share. And let's switch to... Ta-da! Baking soda and vinegar. I don't have any baking soda, but I could get some tomorrow. All the best with the plumbing. I love this. I love this. I am just going to do some research next. I'll see what I can find. Yeah. I know you can get these like long things that you put round the U-bend. So maybe I'll have to do that and see what's stuck there. Or just call out a plumber, but that could cost quite a bit. Yeah, well, it's all about knowing our limits. Okay, guys. So I'm going to start some music. Oh, let me put myself back on camera. Where am I? Ta-da! I think I'm always in this corner for this, aren't I? Okay, cool. See you in a bit. Right, guys. There's 10 of us. More people have joined. Thank you to everyone who's joined. Let's do this. Everyone can type in the chat, and let's see how we get on. So... Thanks. Really, really appreciate it. Love you, my friend. If you are watching, type in the chat.
If you could look around my heart, you would see the reason I went dark. And you could take it all apart.
Is Khan so loud?
You're the only one to move me. Yeah, you're the only one to move me. What can you say when the lights go out? I can be your guide when you're in the dark. Now take me out to the unknown.
So we've got to get 28 points. This is a difficult one.
That's where you will find me. We can change the meaning of home. That's when you remind me. What you can say when the lights go out. I can be your guide when you're in the dark. Now take me out to the unknown. 'Cause you're the only
Contact.
one to move me.
Oh, you beat me to it. Well done. That got us over the line, though. Hey, Karen, you should join in. Anyone that's watching, just type in the chat any words you can make. We're working as a team.
What can you say when the lights go out? I can be your guide when you're in the dark. Now take me out to the unknown. 'Cause you're the only one to
Here we go. Oh, there was only 3 of us. Wow. Let's get some more on the board. Sesame. We're a team, but stealing can happen. We can change the future, you know. That's what you remind me. Such a good song. Such a pleasant song. I like it a lot. Oh, we're almost there. We've almost found them all. Now, they're in alphabetical order, so is there another one with an E first? Or is it? One more. Can we get the last one? I thought Sames was one. No. That was close. But we did get 3. We skipped 3. Now the record is 19. Yay, look at that. More people on the board. Let's keep going, guys. Oh, this looks difficult. Welsh words probably don't count, yeah. Hourly, that is a good one. Just got beaten though. Hourly, so what's the top one? Usually that can be a clue. Is it roughly? It is! Just as Mojo came up with rough. Still need a few more, guys. Holy. We need a few more. We're running out of time. Wow, loads of 5-letter ones. Yay, we did it. Well done. Those were very awkward letters, agreed. Let's go. Let's go. We haven't got fake letters yet, have we? No.
You don't know the things I do to make you feel right, make you feel alright. And everything you wanna know, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. Spreading for too long, spreading for too long.
Everyone's saying helmet now.
Do you feel right? This is all I wanna know. Are you telling me that you be by my
Nah,
side
good word.
when I wake up at night? Oh, and everything you wanna know, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. I love the city lights when you never look so
Oh, they're all 4 letters now.
oh, this is all I wanna know. Tell me you feel alright. Tell me you feel alright. Show me your face, don't push me away. You wanna feel right.
There's something beginning with T.
Show me
Oh, the.
your face, don't push me away. You wanna feel right. Are you telling me, telling me?
By the way, if you haven't hit the like button on the live chat, please do. 9 likes, 10 of you are watching. Love you all.
Everything you wanna know, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. I love the city lights when you never look so bright. Oh,
Yeah, I get an advantage. I see it
this is
before
all
you.
I wanna know. Tell me you feel alright.
Right, there's a fake letter. We have to work out what it is. I've done germ. Okay, one of them is a fake letter. Okay, G. G is the fake letter.
You know you're so bright to me. You're the source of love for me. So tell me that you'll be by my side when I wake up at night. Oh, and everything you wanna know, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. I love the city lights when you never look so bright. Oh, this is all I wanna know.
Lots of M's.
Tell me you feel alright. Okay.
God, we just did it. Mate, nice one. What was that other 6 letter? Omega. I know G was taken. Well done, everyone. So, what level are we on now? We're going to be on level 10. Right. The record is 19. It's going to be tough. But the show goes on. Let's try this song. Great work. All right, there's a fake letter. Let's work out what it is. Okay, clip.
When you're calling out for a paradise,
blip isn't allowed. So I think B is the fake letter. Yeah. Oh, right. Everyone needs to step it up. We're almost there. Come on, everyone up! Unlucky, everyone. That was a tough one. It was we had a smaller team this one. We had a smaller team this time. That was tough. That was really tough. But a huge thank you to everyone who played. Number 8, Karina. Number 7, Cali Timecat. 6, Kawa04 now. 5, PRTSP. 4, Jordan H. Then me. Then Mojo. And then in first place, almost at 100 with 96 points, Siago Guitarist. Woo! This is not good for your mental health. Yeah, it's a pretty brutal game. It is a pretty brutal game. Listen, everybody, I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. Much love to you all. Be good to yourselves. Have a think about all the things that I mentioned today. Feel free to scroll back and look over these things again. And yeah, onwards and upwards. I'm hoping to get a lot of rest this coming weekend. So hopefully for next week's show, I'll be in a much more upbeat mode because at the moment I'm running on empty. But yeah, it's 10:10 at night. I need to make myself some dinner, although all I'm thinking about now is researching a plumber. So yeah, well done, everybody. I love you all. And as always, it's time for your thoughts as we go into the end credits. So love, respect, empathy. Adios till next time. Peace out.
Saw you on the road. I was chasing sunsets all alone. The darkness faded.
Hey, how we doing? How we doing, all you people that you like hanging around? What is it with hanging around till the end? Puts all this pressure on me. I've now got to deliver a post-credit scene. No, honestly, really, really appreciate it. It was fun. I was just getting some stuff on my phone. I spoke about it at the beginning, about my grandmother. I have just downloaded a few clips from my time away in Devon. Firstly, photo of me and my brother. Oh god, it's quite zoomed in. That's me and my brother. My brother Reese. I love him dearly. God, he can grow a beard. So that was me and my brother enjoying the evening sun. And then me and my mother. So it was my mum's mum who passed away. So this is my mum Julie. Love her dearly. She did well. She gave a great speech. Hollywood smiles. The bottom of my teeth are quite crooked. I need to get them sorted out. And then this was actually the view of the place. This was the view. It was absolutely beautiful, which is what I say there. So yeah, just a quick view, really. So it was really good. Yeah, it was good. And in the morning before the ceremony, I went to go and see my grandmother in the open coffin, which I don't know if any of you have ever done before with a relative. I've done it once before when I was younger with my dad's dad, my granddad. Yeah, it's very surreal. I mean, I was in my 20s, but I definitely feel a lot more. I'm much more older and have different perspectives now. But going to see my grandmother and seeing her lie there, it's the weird thing of like, it sounds weird. Like she looked peaceful. Well, of course she was peaceful. She was dead. But like she looked lovely. And I don't know, I'm still processing it, but it's also the fact she had dementia. She had dementia for over a decade. She died 92. So to live like that, and Callie, I just sort of saw what you said about your sister. I can't even imagine. Because as heartless as it says, when it comes to like learning about death, grandparents is an easier thing to get your head around, because when you grow up as a kid, it's like grandparents, old, it's more understandable. But yeah, it's tough. My mum put a duster in the coffin with my nan, because my nan used to love dusting a lot, which was adorable. But yeah, it's life. 92. What innings? And she's at peace now, and so that's important. So yeah, I'm glad I went. Of course, I would have gone. But yeah, it's just a reminder of the fragility of life, and it's why it's important that we're good to each other, and it's why it's important we're good to ourselves. Because if we're good to ourselves, it makes us the best we can possibly be, and then it gives us an opportunity to make the world a better place together. So yeah, I want to say a huge thank you for coming in for today's show. It's been lovely having you here. Hopefully all the stuff I've gone through has been helpful. And don't forget, in 40 minutes time, it's going to be Wes and Brian for PlayStation VR Without Parole. So head over there if you haven't already. And Karina says, you got to hurry up, loving people, they pass away so quickly. Yeah, true. Yeah, absolutely. Much love to you all. Have a great week. And don't forget, I will be back on PlayStation Without Parole on Friday, and I hope to see you there. I will put something on my Instagram in the meantime. But apart from that, I'm still sort of taking a break from social media. Right now, I am going to make myself some food, or I might order some takeaway, actually. I need to sort the plumber stuff out, and then I'm going to bed, because it's going to be another busy day tomorrow. So much love, and I will see you soon. Peace.